Native people, Native culture, Native knowledge. Hi, I'm Jeannie Green, bringing you award-winning Heartbeat Alaska.
Bringing you national and international Native news, this is award-winning Heartbeat Alaska, the premier Native voice in Native programming.
There's a heartbeat, louder than thunder, revolution is in the air. There's a heartbeat deep inside our mother. Are you too cool to care?
Now, with Heartbeat Alaska, here's Jeannie Green.
Hello and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska. Native news, Native information. I'm Jeannie Green. Thank you so much for joining us for another exciting program. On today's program, we revisit Aniak, Alaska, and share with you some wonderful Eskimo dancing by the youth in that community. Also, we present Day 3 of Inupiaq, Day 3 from Noorvik, Alaska. I promise you, it's a great show. I'll be back right after this.
I've talked to the children about learning back our Eskimo culture, like going back to it, like our dialects should be spoken morely, likely at home. And then what they could hear and understand, they won't forget that word, what they had learned while they're young.
There's a heartbeat louder than thunder. Revolution is in the air. Enough? Thank you.
It's in the air.
Hi, I'm Mark from Scan Home, and we are proud to sponsor Heartbeat Alaska.
Scan Home, serving all of Alaska's home and office furnishing needs. Thank you, Scan Home, for making Heartbeat Alaska possible.
Support for this program provided by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alaska. We've been giving Alaskans the support they need since before Alaska was even a state. And we'll be here when you need us. We're here. We're with you. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alaska.
Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you in part by Bristol Environmental and Engineering Services, serving Alaska since 1994. A subsidiary of Bristol Bay Native Corporation.
The gift of past experiences handed down. There are no greater lessons.
Don't mess with Katie. Join thousands of marchers on August 7th for the 2001 We the People March.
We the people standing our ground. We're standing on our ground.
Meet at 2 p.m. at the Federal Courthouse. Bring signs. March in unity for subsistence. This year's theme, don't mess with Katie.
The focus of the world is on Alaska. Beyond the borders, you're invited to a party. By the Nature Conservancy of Alaska, working with Alaska's rural communities to conserve and protect our natural heritage. Welcome back. Today we're delighted to bring you Day 3 of Inupiaq Day. Inupiaq Day in Noorvik, Alaska, were 3 days dedicated to the teaching of the youth, traditional ways by the elders. We thank Noorvik, Alaska, all the community members there, for inviting Heartbeat Alaska to share their culture with you, teaching an Inupiaq tradition in Noorvik, Alaska. The word Noorvik means a place that is moved to. The village was established by Kwagmut Inupiaq Eskimo fishermen and hunters from Deering in the early 1900s. The village was also settled by people from Oksik, a few miles upriver. Noorvik is one of the largest communities in the Northwest Arctic borough. Noorvik is mainly an Inupiaq Eskimo community who still participate in a subsistence lifestyle.
when we were growing up, I've seen a lot of these big spoons made of wooden. They use it for cooking, they use it for stirring the cooking, and they use it for taking the fat out of that.
Day 3, the elders in Noorvik demonstrated tools used by their ancestors.
Made out of, this is loom. How many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 looms. Real good old type bag. Somebody kept it that long. The food that you carry if you go out hunting or going somewhere, inside of this it wouldn't freeze. Even the thermos can be there. That's real good type, and they use this for tool to keep their toolbox too, like spark plugs or whatever they have to carry along if they're hunting or going somewhere else. Fishing down the lake, they use it to when after they make a hole in the ice to fish. There's always a lot of snow. You take that snow off with this and take it out from that fish hole so that it would be clear.
In northwestern Alaska, large numbers of migratory ducks, geese, cranes, and loons nested in ponds and small lakes. The resourceful Inupiaqs of the area wasted little.
One ivory hook that I made about 10 years ago, they used the back sinew of caribou, back sinew, or what's called it, braided up and used for a line, fish hook and a jigger line.
And this is the old type hook.
A long time ago, ever since I was old enough to see and remember, they were using all ivory hooks. Ivory hooks is the main thing to use at this time for fishing.
This is carved out of mastodon tusk. Okay? This is what they use, and this part right here is made out of baleen, out of whale. This is the only type of fish hooks that they used to use a long time ago.
And this is sinew. They tie it up real good, twist the sinew, and used it because when it's dried up, it's real strong, so it couldn't bend. Look, that's what they use, and they put this little thing, this little iron to put it right there. They usually put little bait, and when the fish caught bite it, they hook through their mouth inside. That's the time you start pulling it.
This one you have to make look like a fish, okay? Small fish playing around down there. So a big fish would come around, get it. You know how? Good.
They can make these hooks. They made them in those days. Only kind we have hooks in those days.
They carve it. They make them for their use, and they use them and keep them and maintain them. Fish used to be our main diet long time ago. This is what we call a kalu, piece of a kalu. We don't have that, what we call a dipper, a frame for this.
Some of these children are learning from their watching of what we are doing. They learn to cut fish, they learn to hang up and dry whatever it's got to be put away for winter supply.
What do you think this is?
Berry picker.
This is the fastest way to get blueberries.
Some of the tools were hundreds of years old. The design and utility make them handy even today.
This is the tool. You hold this tool like this, see? And then you start working on this. You start working on this, you have to start.
I've got quite a bit of my handmade, like berry picker, a wooden platter, or a drill that could be used. You have to bite a little piece of wooden, bite it in a little groove, and then you put that drill with a little bow, and it works like that, going back and forth like that. It'll drill a hole for you when you're making an ivory hook.
Very ingenious. People knew what they want. They made their own tools. They just didn't go to a hardware store and buy it. You had to make your own. Okay? Take a look at it.
2 years ago, I was stranded out Kobuk Lake, and it was pretty stormy, real bad weather. So for some reason, I got it from the trail markers. So I didn't go very far because I was out of a trail. Then what I learned, what I heard from my brother that passed on about 5 years ago, what he has told me while I was growing up, was in my mind. I'm going to sit right there, and I'm not going to go moved anywhere. So I saved my gas there, and I've got VHF radio. I've contacted Kotzebue that I'm going to be stranded for some times.
You can get grass and stuff it inside your ski pants and boots, inside your coat. Use that grass. That's really good insulation there to help stay warm.
When you get stranded, when you start walking out there, you get thirsty. You want the best thing you'd see is to dig right to the top of the snow. Eating snow is not good. You know, you'll start getting weak.
Making use of plants or ice. Sometimes you get thirsty when you're out there and you try and have snow. Snow is not good for you.
Snow on the branches. And there's all these icicles. Just like them icicles that were up there, those are a lot better to drink out of. When it's cold, they'll stick to your tongue or your lips or whatever. But it's better than eating snow. When you start eating snow, as you walk, you'll start getting weaker and weaker, you know. The snow is not good to eat when you're out there, when you get hungry. It's better to get the ice if you have a knife or something, to get ice. If there's no ice, if you're out in the tundra, you have to dig right down and get the icicle-like thing, which is a little harder snow there. And then it will help you. It's better to carry a container to put it in your body and let your body create water. But we don't carry that nowadays, you know. We just hop into the snow and take right off. Hopefully that we'd get there right away and all that. Sometimes it don't happen that way.
These gals that were out for how many days, they used that. Another guy, Joe Field, he passed away however many years ago, but he was out for quite a while. Back in the 70s, maybe a week and a half or something like that, he was out and he used a lot of that, those branches off the tips of the branches is what you want to use. So what we did earlier we didn't actually make a fire out here, but the other part was making a fire. If you can get grass, get grass like that to help with your fire starter. Some of the drier parts like this of the branches, get this type of stuff instead of getting the green. All of this is dry and ready to burn. Start small and go into these bigger ones and put the bigger stuff up on top. So you just start small with grass and the smaller twigs, then move up towards the bigger sized drier branches, and try to get a good spot to get a fire going. And if you've got matches, anything you do, try to do a good job at it, because the better job you do on making a good place for yourself, you'll be more comfortable, you'll be drier, you'll be warmer.
I hasn't moved. I stay on foot until my help comes by. So I didn't move anywhere. I saved my gas there, and by the time I could see the lights, I started my snow machine and started going to them. They look at find out that my light, they see my light, and they turn around and start going to me. One of them started asking me, "Are you Clarence Jackson?" I says, "Yeah." It was so bad, the weather was stormy then. So we come out to look for you. I says, "I know, because I've contacted Kotzebue radio station down there with handheld radio. That's a good thing to have nowadays. VHF handheld radio, they are useful now today for everybody."
If you're going to go out hunting or going off someplace, traveling, try and make sure that you have things with you that will come in handy in case something happens. The other thing is to let somebody know what you're going to do. If you don't let parents or friends or other people know, when something happens, they won't even know which direction to go and check on you. So it's important to let people around you know what you plan on doing. And when you get out and get into a bad situation, the most important thing that's going to help you is if you keep your mind without letting it get out of control. Once you let your mind get out of control, then you're not in a good spot to even take care of yourself.
An important part of the tradition of Noorvik is their connection to their church. The walls of this old church were built in the early 20s. They resonate with memories of a way of life that's not forgotten, rather cherished as a link to their past.
The old church that they had was a log cabin. It burnt down. After it burnt down, they built this house. And this old church here was built probably in the 1920s. And that's my childhood. As I was growing up, this is where we used to come to church to. In fact, it used to be so cold, it reminds me of the cold days and all this. When we walked in, when people are late to build the fire, because they've got 55-gallon barrel sitting right over here. They usually have chairs. They don't have any pews. They have chairs. The young people used to sit at the middle right over here. In fact, there's all this divided. All the women are on this side here. The old people, the old ladies used to sit over to that side over there. There's 3 rows of chairs right over in there. And there's about 4 or 5 rows over at that side over there for men. Men used to sit on the right-hand side, the women on the left. And then the younger women used to sit right over at the middle part there. And then the children used to sit right at the front there when you walk in. They make sure that the ushers will let the children sit right to the front there. And what they usually do is put older people in between the young kids and all that, to make sure that they don't whisper or anything like that, These people are strict, You can't even chew gum. You can't even eat candy. There was probably about 8 gas lanterns that used to be hanging up right up here. And when they start getting dark, they take them down and start pumping air to them, and then hang them back up again. Nowadays, they've got electricity, they've got fuel oil, and the houses are insulated. This old house is not insulated even. That's why it is always so cold when you come to church,
With this program, we conclude the series on Inupiaq Day in Noorvik, Alaska. Heartbeat Alaska thanks the residents of Noorvik. It was a privilege and an honor to document the Inupiaq ways and traditions. And though times may change, some things do not. The people of Noorvik, Alaska, continue to teach, continue to hope, and continue to love, just as their ancestors did thousands of years ago.
Heartbeat Alaska will be traveling to Northwest Alaska this summer to get some beautiful summertime village. And once again, thank you, Noorvik, Alaska. I'll be back with Aniak right after this. The focus of the world is on Alaska. Beyond the borders, you're invited to a party. Heartbeat Alaska, Native news and Native information. I'm Jeannie Green.
This program sponsored in part by Phillips Alaska. Dreamers who make it happen.
I like to dream. Don't mess with Katie. Join thousands of marchers on August 7th for the 2001 We the People March.
We the people standing our ground. We're standing on our ground.
Meet at 2 p.m. at the Federal Courthouse. Bring signs. March in unity for subsistence. This year's theme, don't mess with Katie.
Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you in part by TribalNews.com, the world's most complete source of Alaska Native American news on the internet.
The focus of the world is on Alaska. Heartbeat Alaska travel to Copper Center, Alaska, Inupiaq, Alaska. Beyond the borders, you're invited to a party. Last week on Heartbeat Alaska, we visited the Inupiaq village of Aniak, Alaska for their Elders Conference. And this week, we present the traditional Native dancing taught by the elders to the youth, a very important program, one that they're very proud of in Aniak, Alaska. Thank you everyone for joining us for another Heartbeat Alaska Native News and Native Information. A special hello to our good friends across the country of Canada. Thank you so much for your emails, and we certainly enjoy hearing from you. Thank you all, our good friends and reservations across America, and welcome KCSM TV Channel 60 out of San Mateo, California. Thank you all for joining us, and look forward to next week where we travel to Tiktaalik, Alaska. God bless every single one of you. We'll see you then.
Never seen it done like that.